Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is In The Game Kaya, and I am here to talk about my predictions for NBA 2K19. I'm not going to be too specific, and this video shouldn't take too long to get over. I just wanted to get some ideas on what I think is going to happen with 2K19 before we get any real information. As you know, just a couple of days ago, we got the information that Giannis Antetokounmpo will be the cover star of NBA 2K19, the Standard Edition. So that was kind of exciting news, especially for Bucks and Giannis fans, I'm sure. But the whole premise of NBA 2K19 is they will know your name. And it got me thinking, 2K has been implementing different features like they did back in 2K15. They had an advertising campaign back in 2K15. I can't remember what the name of it was, but they had that was an advertisement that meant that you could scan your face into the game. And I'm starting to think, the first idea that popped into my head is that they will know your name. It could just be the title of their My Career Story, like they had Living the Dream in 2K16. And it could just be They Will Know Your Name as the name of the story. My thought is, this is just kind of a strange thing, but it is what popped into my head, that they will have some kind of name pronunciation builder, so that if the name is not in their database of pronounced names, you can tell the game how the name is supposed to be pronounced, and then they'll just have different syllables that the commentators will have pronounced that will then be pieced together by the software. If I had to take a guess, I would say that, for one, that would be a really cool feature. And conceptually, I don't think it would be too hard to implement, because they already do the whole stitching audio thing for their commentary anyway. You would just have to stitch each individual part of the name. It would also be a lot of effort, so maybe not. But that's just my thought on where they're going there. The next thing will be, there seems to be a big focus on defense this year. They said that lockdown players will be a very strong kind of build, so I think this game will be a little bit more defensively focused, kind of like NBA 2K16 was, at least in my opinion. Although Steph Curry did kind of break the game, NBA 2K16, but of course he also kind of broke the NBA in 2016, so that's kind of to be expected. Well, do I think it will be good or bad? This is the big thing that people are wondering. For one thing, 2K seems to have like a bad year and then a good year. Like 2K11 was really good. 2K12, I really liked it. There were a lot of people that didn't, and especially if you didn't get the roster update with all of the rookies and stuff after the game released due to the lockout that year. Some players weren't in the game because they didn't have the rights to them yet. So especially if you played with kind of a botched version of 2K12, I can see how that had issues. I personally really liked it, and I still go back and play it from time to time. 2K13 was really weird for me, and I guess it was for a lot of people, because I guess around the community, which I'm just starting to get a handle on now after all these years. I've been playing 2K since 2K11. I guess around the community, NBA 2K13 is not regarded very well for some reason. I didn't think it was that bad, and I liked the whole idea of the Pro Stick, which is they just removed the trigger modifier for it, where it used to be you would have to hold the left trigger in order to initiate a shot. And 2K14, I played a ton of 2K14. I didn't think it was amazing. Definitely better than 13. Maybe about the same as 2K12, in my opinion. And I played both versions of 2K14, the old generation and the current generation. I'm sorry if I sound nasally, if I clear my throat a lot. I just am coming off of a cold, and yes, the last video I put up on my channel, I was also coming off of a cold back then. This is a different cold. So, 2K14 I thought was really good. So, 13 not so good, 14 good. Of course, the main reason I played 2K14 so much was because of the Ultimate Base roster, which if you don't know what that is, I would take a look into it, because it's a lot of fun, especially if you're into basketball history. Although setting it up does require getting through all of those ad-based URL shortener websites like AdFly, and it's an absolute pain to get it set up, but once you do, it is definitely a great experience. 2K15, I did not like 2K15. A lot of people did like it. Personally, my brother and I found an exploit in the game that allowed us to just basically, it was so easy to do. It had to do with shooting threes, and basically it was the Cavaliers versus the Warriors and Kyrie Irving versus Steph Curry in 2K15. Just over and over again, who could shoot more threes, who could score more threes with their players using this exploit. That was the only way we could play 2K15. And I got sick of it. My brother never did, but I got sick of it really fast, and I gave up on 2K15 and went back to 2K14, and that's the first time I can remember not playing the most current version of a sports title in favor of one that's older. Because at that time, I was still playing the most recent version of Madden, playing the most recent version of NCAA football, which ended with 14. I had stopped following baseball at that time, so I didn't have any baseball games. So it was just basketball and football. And that was the first year that I said, no, I just can't do this. And I went back to 2K14. Of course, 2K15 also didn't have the Ultimate Base roster, but that's a different story. Just the gameplay itself. 2K14 is still one of the better 2K games in terms of gameplay. It's not 2K11, which I played. I ate up 2K11. My original Xbox 360 disc that I had for 2K11 just got eaten alive. It was ridiculous. And then, so 13 bad, 14 good, 15 bad. I liked 16, and I played all the way through Living to Dream, my career mode. And that's the last time I was really serious about my career and tried to do something with it. Although by the time I finished my career story, I realized just how much of my career had already passed, and I had missed things like winning Rookie of the Year potentially. I didn't get to do that. There were all kinds of things that I didn't get to do, and that kind of irritated me. There were also points in the story that made it seem like you were going to have a choice, and that never panned out. You didn't have a choice. So it kind of grated me a little bit, and by the time I was done with the story, I was kind of fed up with my career, and I went to playing My League and My GM. But I did like the gameplay in 2K16. I actually just went back to it a couple of days ago, and I still think it's a lot of fun. It's not as easy to work with in terms of customization as some of the other 2Ks, but 2K16 also gave us one of my favorite features in the new 2K games, which is the custom team building aspect of My League. And I wish they have the tools implemented already. I wish they would let us create teams. They won't let us create teams to put in the roster as a created team. Why not? If you dig into the files of NBA, even NBA 2K18, of course it's also there in 16 and 17, but if you dig into the files of 2K18, you can see the spots, like 10 spots that are team names star, just asterisks, full asterisks for city name and team name. Those are the created team slots that are a leftover from 2K14 when you could create teams. So the slots are still there, I understand that those slots might be limited, but I don't care. I want to create teams. I mean, we have the tool already in the game. I don't know why we can't do this. That's beside the point. And no, I don't think that's coming in 2K19 either. Forgot this was supposed to be a 2K19 video. But I'm almost done with this. So, 2K16 was good. 2K17 is one of the worst sports games I have ever played for any sport, ever. Yes, it's terrible. I think it's worse than Madden 13. Absolutely dreadful. I hated it with a passion. I spent over 100 hours tweaking sliders, tweaking rosters, messing with game settings, trying to get it to be a state where I found at least some enjoyment in it, because it was much easier to customize than 2K16 from my perspective. There were more tools for it, there were more mods for it. I wanted to go to 2K17 because customization is a huge thing for me, especially in sports games. So I wanted the ability to customize it, and I wanted the game to be playable. I really liked the way it looked. I had all kinds of graphics things set up for it. I had all kinds of mods installed. I would wipe it and start over because maybe that's messing with it. No, that's not it. The game was fundamentally flawed. It was absolute trash. I spent more time trying to fix the game than actually playing the game in any of its modes. And that includes customizing the game, which is something I've done more than anything else in 2K18. It's a joke. 2K17 is a joke. It was terrible. And if anyone tells you 2K18 is worse than 2K17, I demand you laugh in their face. There is no way, even with its microtransactions, that 2K18 is worse than 2K17. Because although 2K18, yes, you need more microtransactions in order to be competent in the game from a park standpoint. That was also in 2K17. People complained about it back then, they're complaining about it now, and it's just, look, 2K17 was much worse. So, 13 bad, 14 good, 15 bad for me, 16 good, 17 terrible. I like NBA 2K18. The main reason I like NBA 2K18 is because I gave up on my career after NBA 2K16. Not that I didn't like the story that 2K16 tried to get across, but when I saw 2K17's story, I laughed, played through college until I got to the NBA, was immediately bored with it and gave up after like an hour and a half. It could not hold my attention whatsoever. Of course, I also hated 2K17's vanilla gameplay. That didn't help either. 2K18, I watched my brother play through the Prelude, and I immediately decided then and there I would not like it, and I have not started on my career in 2K18 at all, and it's the first year of 2K where I have not even created one my player. And I think that's part of the reason I actually like 2K18. A lot of the problems that people have with 2K18 seem to come from the neighborhood, which is what they rebranded the park as, and my team, and those kinds of things, those online competitive modes. A lot of the problems people have tend to come from that. And since I don't play any of that, I only play my league. I do roster edits, I do slider tweaks, I do draft classes, and I play my league. And I have a lot of fun with my league, and the analytics tool that they put in is really useful. My GM, I dabbled with it. It's not nearly as bad as my career, but it's still not really that good. It's just, it's passable, I guess. Kind of like 2K16's my career. I started a my GM, and I'm like 10 games into the season, and I haven't touched it since. And I thought I would really like it too. But because I only ever play now, or my league, or edit rosters and make mods, I don't have to deal with online server issues, microtransactions, any of those things. And when you take all that away, I think 2K18, there's on-the-court gameplay, offline, playing with your friends on the couch next to you, or doing your own thing. I think 2K18 is a decent game. It's not amazing. It's not quite as good as 2K14 was, which is not as good as 2K11 was. but 2K18 is a decent game, and I hope you can understand why I think that. So, if the trend continues, that's the reason I went through that whole breakdown of my thoughts on each 2K. If that trend continues, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, then we're due for a bad 2K. I would hope that 2K19 is not a bad 2K. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, because they haven't really released gameplay. The snapshots they released, the graphics look like a very small incremental step forward. But the graphics have been kind of all over the place in this generation of consoles. If you take a quick glance, you can't really tell one 2K from another in this generation except for 2K14 or 2K18. 2K14 and 2K18 look different from 15 through 17. And one thing they added in 15, and I think it was still there in 16, but doesn't seem to be there in 17 or 18, maybe it's just 18, is the hair physics. I hope they bring that back. I mean, yeah, sometimes it would clip through the player's head, but I'd like to see the hair on their heads moving. We have the technology. I mean, it was in 2K15, they touted it as a feature, and now it's not. The players run up and down the court and their hair clips through their shoulders because it's just rigid. Imagine how much better Steve Nash would look if he had hair physics instead of that matted, sheet that hangs off the side of his head. I think 2K19 at its best will be slightly better than 2K18. I think the reception of it by the community will only be better than 2K18 if microtransactions are significantly reduced. It's the only way I think that 2K19 will get a better reception from the community. Because there's not a lot of issues with 2K18's gameplay, and yes, snatchbacks and blow-bys are a problem if you're playing online, because when I play offline, they are not a problem. They're not unguardable. Part of the reason they're unguardable is due to the lag that occurs when you play online. So, 2K19, I anticipate it'll be something like if 2K18 is a 7 out of 10, basically average for most people, then I would say 2K19 at its best is probably going to be a 7.5, or being really optimistic, an 8 out of 10, but it's not going to be amazing. It's going to be more like a 2K14 kind of thing. It's not going to be 2K11. It's not going to be any of that. And I have a specific issue with NBA 2K that I want to talk about, because I am, if I continue to make 2K videos, I may be one of the few NBA 2K content creators that doesn't play online, like at all. I don't play Now online even. I just don't. So I have a couple of offline specific, me playing the game by myself kind of views that I would like to get out that I don't think have been touched on. So I might make a video on that. Well, this video has already gone on longer than I wanted it to be. Just a quick in summary. 2K19 looks like it's going to be a defensively focused game. Not as heavy on the offensive side of the ball, so that things that you can do on the offensive end will be less effective, hopefully less exploitative. They say that lockdowns are going to be much stronger, and I hope that's the case. 2K18's defense is kind of all over the place and very inconsistent. It's certainly better than 2K17. I think it'll probably be a decent to good game. I don't think it'll be bad again, although if the pattern is anything to go by, the pattern that I laid out earlier, there is reason to be cautious. And I would advise you, if you haven't yet, do not pre-order until you see gameplay. do not pre-order the game until you see gameplay footage. Because otherwise, what reason do 2K have to put out game footage if you're going to pre-order the game anyway? And then you'll have spent your money, possibly, and you'll see that the footage doesn't look so promising, and you'll be like, oh, well, I've already pre-ordered it. So don't make that mistake. You can pre-order even the day before it comes out, and you'll be fine. If you have to wait until the day before it comes out because you want to get it pre-ordered so you can play it a few days early, then pre-order it like the day before it's set to release early, so that you can get your hands on it early. If you have to wait that long, just don't worry about it. Definitely wait for gameplay footage to drop before you make that decision. And do the same thing for Madden. I suppose some might say, well, we've seen gameplay footage. Yes, technically we have, but I would wait for some more information on the game personally than what has already been released. And if you're an EA Access member on Xbox, then you'll get a chance to play the game 10 days early anyway. And, well, that's all I have to talk about today. Let's all hope that 2K19 is actually a decent game. If you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them down below, and I will go ahead and reply to that or make a video on it if it's a big enough topic. I do plan on talking about NBA free agency, as well as getting some 2K18 specific content out as well, including a follow-up to a video that I put on my channel a couple months ago about downgrading your NBA 2K version. There's just been more information on that, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But, till then, thank you, and have a good day.